Today I'm using some of my favorite tools. Is whipped cream together with a Potion 9 or a dark oil by Slash. I'm using a cutting lotion called No Breaker. I'm sorry it's not out of the stores yet. It's a brand new product. It's a repair and restore. It's fantastic for like hair has been colored, it repairs the bone, and there's a styling aid into it. So before I start using all the product, I'm going to show you how to use the product with the hair. Because you can't just go ahead and start cutting. You have to really like layer the hair with a lot of foundation. So set yourself up for success. Are there any questions so far before I go into it?
So people were saying, yes, so today is a razor haircut?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
awesome. And then, guys, can you just let me know if the sound is better now? Can I get somebody to confirm?
Good, we're good on sound? Great. So I'm going to be using the whipped cream. I love whipped cream because it's more like a lotion into a whip texture. See that? Want to see it again? Right? Like whipped cream. You put it on your cake. And then I use some Potion 9. It's like a leave-in. A few pumps of Potion 9. Okay. We mix it together into our hands. Since she has a lot of hair, you want to use a lot. Yeah?
The audio is still really low. I'm gonna just have to get closer.
So really use your hands with the product through the hair and really, you guys, really move that product through her texture. Since she has a lot of hair, you really want to go in and set that product into her hair. It's been pre-washed about 20 minutes ago with the twisted shampoo and a twisted conditioner by Scissor, especially for curly hair. You want to start the shampoo roll using the right tools to help it. Then another, I think it's very important, is I know that she wants to have a fringe and the size is going to be a bit longer towards the jaw hairline. And the back is going to be the same thing that we have right now. Nothing has been pre-cut on it. She came in just like this morning. I'm going to start blueprinting my haircut, meaning I'm going to take 5 sections. Take the U-shaped section on the top. Because she has so much hair, you want to make sure that you create a blueprint, meaning you section off the head like a puzzle, right? Keeping your work clean, organized, and understood. So you don't get lost in the maze of her hair.
People were asking, can we use this foundation for a scissor haircut as well?
Oh, absolutely, yes. And depending how much hair she has, you might want to like just use whipped cream on its own, or you want to use whipped cream with some like dark oil, or you want to just use the dark oil on its own. It's really about like what kind of texture of hair she has and what are you working with. Round it off. Take the top section out like a U shape. Make sure you take enough from the back. Make sure you show the back, like the U shaped section right here. There you go. And I have to say, I like this comb. I'm going to comb really quickly. This comb has like a little beak on it. You see that little beak? I don't know a different word I can say, but this little bit right there, it is so easy just like to hook the sections and go around and create your forms within the hair. I think this comb is by Rice Park.
We have a lot of people joining right now. Can you talk a little bit again about what you're going to be doing today?
Yes, I can. Hi guys, welcome who's joining right now. We're here at the Harlot, and I have the man behind the camera is Al Shorthall, as known as the video director at the Harlot. Hi. Thank God for you, videotaping this so well.
Thanks.
Today I'm going to showcase you the Wavy Haircut. And this is inspiration that came from the classic Shag and the mullet. Just hybrid it together, or they're having a baby together, and that should be the Wavy Haircut. So I'm going to do that on Lena today. And again, her hair is super thick. I mean, it is very thick, right? I think it's quite really the thickest hair I've ever worked with. And it's a challenge. And the challenge, I want to share that with you because it's going to be a challenge putting my hair into the Wavy Haircut. So the tools I'm deciding to use today, not only putting in the right product, I put in whipped cream by Sebastian. It's like a nice luxury cream in a whoopie mousse way. And then I use Ocean 9, which will leave in, put them together. That gives you the product to put into the hair before you start cutting. Have a really great slip that goes right through the hair. It helps me cutting as well. So I'm using the blade, I'm using the mini one just for the front hairline. Then I'm moving into like the blade that's a little longer. And what I think, I do this a lot in the salon. I use the blade all the time. And then what I do a lot of vertical cutting. And you can use the scissors just as well. So if you don't use the blade, use scissors. Or any other tool that looks like this. I'm sure that's fine too. So I use a section of the front all the way down to the back, the crown area. This is the section what always kind of like gets me in trouble. Because I feel like as soon as I'm done with my clients or my models, I'm so tired that it's very hard for me to cut the top. So I'm just going to section it off so I know this is going to be like my ends, but actually like length and put together.
Hey guys, can you tell me can you not hear her, or is there background noise that's preventing that? If anybody can let me know, that would be great. We'll try to figure out a solution here.
Can you hear me? Am I still be louder?
We could probably,
okay.
Yeah, let's try that and see if that works.
And the fringe kind of shows you where it wants to be sectioned, okay? It kind of like you open it up, you comb the hair towards the front, and you kind of open it up, you can see where it wants to go. Curly hair has such a strong personality, you kind of have to go with it. Curly hair, you can't really direct it much, but curling with the curl. I mean, cutting with the curl. Excuse me.
Okay, now we're good on sound, so we'll just keep
sound?
the volume up.
Keep the volume up?
Yeah.
Alright. So you can make a swoop, you can over direct, whatever you want to do, whatever fringe you want. Like I said, I kind of want to go what Lena's hair is telling me to do. It's kind of sitting open right here. The curl is moving to the right and to the left. So I'm kind of want to go with that. So I'm taking this section right here, right? So it splits open. Section it in the middle. Hold it out. See? You see, it's telling me where to go. It wants to go that way. It doesn't want to go to the right, it wants to go to the left. So I can go ahead and just brush my blade with the movement of the curl. See? It's kind of a C motion. And I'm really just gonna skim through it. I'm kind of going to skim through, but I'm creating the movement into the fringe.
Now, Morel, if she had different curl patterns within this one section, would you approach that any differently, or?
For sure, because every curl, every texture of the hair is different, right? If she would have straight hair, it'd be different as well. If she had coily hair, it would be a different technique, or even maybe a different cutting tool.
That looks so cool already.
See, and I'm gonna go longer because Lena wants to keep the length as long as possible. See, I'm not gonna go in flat because that it abrupts the curl, but I'm gonna go to the side right here. It kind of like shaves it. It's almost like shaving a piece of cheese. I'm sorry, I love cheese. But if you start cutting from the top of the section and just create more of a C movement, the pattern of the curl stays there, it's just less thick. Okay, I'm going to stay in this side so you can really focus on finishing off one section. Take this section, take the longest piece that you just cut, and cut just a little above it, right? So this is the piece I just cut. See how short it is? I'm going to start cutting just above right here. Another section, vertical section, top to bottom. I'm going to cut from the top to the bottom. I'm not going to cut from the inside because it's going to like abrupt the curl. I want the curl to stay as in best volume as possible. Take another section, look for it. Place the blade on the section and let the blade do all the work. You skim down.
Can you show how much density is left at the end of the hair too after you do the skimming so everybody can see? Yeah.
It's beautiful, right?
Yeah, it looks great.
And that's the great thing about like cutting with the blade. There is not really like, there is a guide and there's a visual guide. Pretty much always where you end up, that section, use it for the next section. With curly hair, it's hard to make a mistake because it kind of like disappears within the curl. But what you can do see, if taking too much weight off, it disrupts the coil and the movement of the curl. You see? So long.
So for that guide there, Morel, are you using the hair that you cut before or
Yeah.
the visual guide on her face?
Yeah, so this is the hair I used before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just take the longest piece and kind of like direct it around the hair, around the eyebrows into the cheek.
And that's actually shaping the curl to come toward the face?
Yes,
Nice.
you see that?
Nice.
So it's always important to like really study the curls, not just to go ahead and think about the finished haircut. Think about what's in front of you. Every section, it's on its own.
with curly hair. Every section has its own way of showcasing the curl and the pattern. You just have to look at like the last section that you cut, where is it ending? And where do you want this section to end? Where do you want this to end? Right? So I want this to wrap around the cheek and up more towards like, you know, this area right here, just by the length of the height of the lips. So take this section and look at it and start right here. So I'm already creating that movement. Right, voila. So far so good, you guys? Okay.
If you have any questions, make sure you get them in.
Okay. Take this section out. Look what's in front of you. You can take this section, the last section you cut, take that piece as a guide, as a visual guide. That's going to be your visual guide. You're not going to hold the sections too high. The section is going to go straight from the growth out in a vertical way. Take your section, visualize it, and then start skimming on top of your section, on top of your curl. Leave the length and take all that like roundness off. Same thing, all around, and take a point all around the head. Same thing over here. Say, take that straight out. Take the last section. Beautiful. There you go. How is it?
What do you guys think?
Good, good, good.
Can we just get a check on sound again? I know what some people were saying it was a little low. So to make sure you guys can get everything out of this.
Take this whole section. The last section. Look at the left. Look at the length. So you keep going, you guys. Take a nice thumbstick thick section. You want a nice firm section. Not too thin, not too thick, but you want to feel like there is some substance there. Take the last section, look for your length, and take that vertical down and skim it. Let the blade do all the work. Move your section down.
Morel, I know one question that a lot of people may have and they're not asking is how do you maintain the length with this? Like I know sometimes when you get in there, the layers get short and then the length is long, and how do you connect that? So is there any tips that you have for that?
Yeah, work very slow. Don't start over, you know, like just because you get fussy within the haircut or you get lost with a haircut, you gotta stay slow and you gotta stay like focused and
one lane, you messed up one lane, just don't look at it. Just yeah, I think that's right. Nina's not today, but you know, it happens to everyone. Like when you get lost in the haircut, just like notice it and just like go slow, you know? It's totally understandable. Especially if you're like, you know, running a little late for your next client. But I think that's why cutting with the blade, it's like you're not only taking length off, but you kind of like taking some like density out of the hair. So you kind of have two tools in one. You see, I keep my section up, and when lower I go, I kind of bend my knees down a little bit and keep the length. You see how beautiful and pretty it looks? And the curl pattern is very firm, it's still there, and it's in full shape. Looking at our stop section. Right there. Visualize it. Don't let it go. Place your blade a little higher and start skimming.
And then why are you recombing there? What does that do for you?
Well, I want to have a full grip on this section, you know, because even this part right here is just as important as the top. Just because, I mean, on the end of my section, I don't want to let it go. I want to refocus, comb it through, have the straightness and the tightness in my section, so I can really like grab the last dead end. I think people forget about that. They just go ahead and start shaping it, and then they have this like thick curtain hanging here. So it doesn't really like flow with the layers that we started with.
Yeah. Hey guys, make sure you're getting your questions in. Morel is a wealth of knowledge, so get that in. She's amazing with curly hair, so ask away.
Ask away. This will be the time. This will be the time. I like holding it up high and finishing up low. Okay, because that we get that fitted in form that we're looking for. See it? Comb it again. So I have a good grip, and then I'll let it go.
The silhouette's really pretty.
Beautiful, right? It's fitted, it's beautiful form. So let's move to the left side of the hair right here.
Actually, can we see that one time? Maybe turn her to the right and the left so we can see the before. So that's after the layering here, guys. And
Wow,
then,
it's gorgeous.
yeah, and then let's see the other side just so we can see what it looks like before all the layering.
You see how thick and it's not really moving anywhere,
Yeah,
but you still have the same length.
yeah, nice.
You know, I spray a little no breaker in the hair. That allows me to keep the hair conditioned and keep the color restored also. So here we go. The next section, I think I already took this section earlier. Let's look at it again.
And with that technique, Morel, what would you call that? You call it skimming?
Skimming
Okay, cool.
technique, yeah.
And how far is your blade moving up and down the hair? Would you say it's like an inch, 2 inches, or is it just all by the curl pattern itself? Like, how do you know how far to skim up and down?
Okay, very good question. So, I know that the higher you skim, the more thickness are you going to be removing out of every section. Since I don't want to remove a lot of weight because I like the weight that she has in her curl pattern, I just want to create fitted layers, right? I want to take some length off. The higher I skim, or the more I skim, the more bulk you're going to be removing. That's why it's important to keep a nice, thicker section, not a thin section, because if you're a thin section, you can't really control how much weight you're going to cut off. You might want to be cutting off too much weight then.
And if we could just keep that the volume up a little higher with the speaking, people
Okay.
are.
So make sure when you skim, you want to skim medium, okay? A medium skim. And people who haven't skimmed before with the blade, I think it's before you start doing a haircut like this, you might want to practice it a little bit. You know? Or practice it on someone with a lot of hair like me, now start in the back. Section. Look, the last section you cut right there, and as you can see, I transferred into the longer blade. Voila.
Gorgeous.
Section. Last section. See much as so you're not really cutting much length out if you think about it. You're just cutting a lot of like inside interior thickness out. Because with the blade, it's kind of like, I think skimming with the blade gives you like the perfect layering movements. They're fitted and they look like they're lived in, they grow out so nicely.
People are saying you're awesome.
Well, thank you. You know, I love Hairbrain. I think Hairbrain is such an amazing company for us, all of our hairdressers here, because you guys are so inspiring. You are showcasing yourself. You're putting your work out there, and you know, I think we're all so good. I think everyone is so good in the craft they're practicing, and it's inspiring for all us to like showcase our stuff and be inspired by each other, because everybody's so good, you know. And I'm just happy to share this technique. This is something I use in the salon on a daily, and I want to showcase you guys how easy it can be and how versatile of haircuts you can create with this same technique. You know, a little pop of color in there. Boom.
So people are asking, do you cut the same way even if she's planning to blow dry her hair, or is it specifically cut for her curl?
You know, I don't think that she's ever going to blow dry her hair. That's going to look like an umbrella, right? Never going to blow your hair, right? Yes. Some people just never blow dry their hair. And I think it's good to know before you start cutting someone's hair. It's good to know, what do you do at home? You know, do you blow dry your hair a lot? Do you never blow dry it? I love cutting hair as a wash and go. You know, because that's like I grew up with. I think it's very, you can really tell a good hairdresser or a good haircut if you can just like let it dry naturally. And how does it grow out? So I have clients who blow dry their hair on a weekly, and you know, this is not that kind of model. This is not that kind of like. It is a technique that you can easily blow dry though, but her hair is too thick for it. What she will do, I'll diffuse a little bit and then use like a GHD iron and just tap and stretch out the curls a little bit at the end. So the higher you go with your sections, the more you shave off the rounding of the head, meaning the more square it will look. If you leave the section more down, you start skimming from here, you create more roundness on the rounding of the head. So a higher your section is, you know, the better it is for this kind of haircut, because it has that really mullet feeling. It's square in the back, but it has that fitted tassel texture. So we're coming towards the last section, the nape area right here. I'm just double checking. Yeah, I did good. Yeah, I did real good.
So would you say that's how you would keep it different from how it first showed up and, you know, like the Brady Bunch and that kind of thing, right? Like it would be by your elevation in the back, or to keep that shape different?
Yeah, so the shape is different today is because you're keeping everything more boxy and more vertical and fitted, right? So it's not like, they're not round layers, they're more like square layers. Rounding it off, just tap with creating spaces through the hair. So that I think makes different right now. It's just because it's a bit more of a square layering more than anything round.
Cool.
So we're done with the rounding of the head. We're all done right here. I'm just switch her around a little bit so you can see it.
It's amazing.
Right. And if you can think like, oh, you know, there's a bit what's a little heavy right here. You can take your little blade.
Let's see it
And
heavy.
use the tip of the blade right here and lift it and switch it. Or you can go pen cut through it if you want to and create some spaces through the hair. Right? If you feel like it's a little heavy, then like this is a bit heavy right there. You can tell when you move the hair, right? When you move the hair, then you can tell like, oh, it's a bit clumpy right here. So you take that piece out with your fingers and just cut in the middle of this coily hair. And it airs it out. Voila. So good, Luna, so good. Okay, so the top. Are you still with me? Are you still with me? Are you still good on time?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good, good, good. Okay, so the top is important because it's going to make the haircut, it's going to melt it all together. So you're going to think about like, what kind of haircut are we creating here? Do you want this to be, keep this long? You want this to be like an overlayer? or do you want this to be like, give it more volume? I mean, I just kind of like comb the top through, see how it melts in with the rest of the haircut, and just use my eye, stand back, look at it, and what do I want to do with it, right? So I'm going to use the same technique that I used underneath. If you want to keep the top longer, you take the sections individually and start using the blade and just create movements within the section so the section stays long. That's not what I want to do today. You know? I want the top section to melt in with the same technique I did before. So it's important to comb the hair through, let the hair melt in, fit it, does it look good? And then make a choice and make a decision after that. Don't pre-think this. It's not just a section on its own. This section belongs with the section on the side and on the back. So comb the section through on the top, mold your fingers through it, and let's just see what it wants to do, you know? So, it's beautiful. So you can go ahead. Right? So, you take little pie sections on the top of the head and go around and pivot point around. So my first pie section is going to be right here, where the first section I started. Move to the front. See, that's my first section right there. This is my top section. So I'm using the same technique, just skimming through the section and make it blend in to the section underneath it. So it's not two haircuts, it's one haircut. I think my favorite haircuts are the haircuts that looks like it's been like, she has had this for weeks, but it's a fresh new haircut. So it doesn't look like a brand new haircut. It kind of looks like it's been growing in like that naturally. See, you can't see when it starts and where the section ends. It kind of all bleeds and melts together. There you go. This is a section on the top and this is a section on the bottom. So I'm holding it out square. I'm using the skimming technique. I'm not starting here, I'm starting a little higher. See, like my last section. Starting a little higher and cut it and skim the hair so it melts in with the underneath. Yeah, you guys got this so far? It's pretty simple, right? When you get it, it's pretty simple. You just kind of like have to stay very slow. Each section's on its own and really focus and study the curl of the hair. Yeah? So I'm just going to go ahead and pivot point on the rounding of the head. Each section is on its own. It's its own individual section. You can see the underneath layers, right? And this is the top layer right here. I'm going to again skim on top of this section, like shave off, and make this coily hair fitted into the underneath haircut. How are you guys doing? Good? So I might replace the blade a few times because you want to keep a fresh blade. And I'm actually taking this off right now and putting in a whole new blade. And what I like to do when I'm done with this blade and it's finished, I like to bend it a little bit so I know it's done. And then I put a new fresh blade on it. And I'm not sure for the people who know which side I should use my blade. Because I'm a left-handed, I like to cut with the blade, open blade towards me and a closed blade towards the section of the hair. So this closed blade goes against the section of the hair. The open blade is looking towards me. If I be right-handed, it will be, the blade would be switched to the other side, right? I'm using on my right hand. Then the open blade looks at me and the closed blade on the other side is towards the hair. If you're not using this blade correctly, it will damage the razor blade. You know, it will damage not only the blade, but damage the haircut. It's not gonna look the same. And I think it happens a lot with clients who come back from a hairdresser who has not used this technique properly and really messed it up. And it gives the client a really bad taste in their mouth of using this beautiful tool, the blade. So hairdressers out there, use this blade correctly and learn it and educate your clients. And if they had a bad, experience, it wasn't because of their hair, it was because of the person who actually used the blade on their hair. They fucked up. It wasn't your fault. I'm just kidding. All right, next section. You can see that I cut this part already, and you can see right here, I didn't cut this part.
It's cool how it's almost like falling into finger wave, like
Right?
a finger wave kind of feel, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say that the blade is kind of helping with that?
Oh, the blade is such a magical tool. It's everything. Yes, you can create this with the scissors, but the scissors will be a bit more choppy. It wouldn't be so fluid. I feel like the blade gives you that fluid movement, and the melted length falling into. I mean, look at that. It kind of just shaves the hair off and just fits it into the rest of the hair. There are no steps with scissors, it grows out so much nicer than I think with scissors. I'm not in the scissor business, obviously, but same thing here, you see that? Look at the length I cut underneath, and this is the length on the top. See that? So I'm gonna cut a little above it and shave it into the rest of the hair. With this skimming technique, push it onto the hair and skim and have soft movements up and down and let it fall into the section underneath. As you can tell, I haven't used a water bottle. I don't use a water bottle. I washed her hair. I used my foundation tools, and I'm letting the curl dry up naturally so I can see what's going on. If I'm gonna keep spraying it with a water bottle, what happens with the curls, it goes flat on me and it becomes heavy and I don't see what I really created. Would you say that's true? Yes, I think that's true. Okay. So, no on the water bottle, just let it dry naturally and keep cutting, because the product you put in, it stays soft and moldable and enhances the texture of our hair. You can see very clearly here the underneath section and how short it is, and how, you see how thin it is too, how airy it is, and then you see the thickness, because you can't see through it here. You can see through here, but you can't see through here. If you can't see through a section, it's like doing a highlight. It's too thick, right? Same with cutting. I'm going to take that section and skim it and letting it melt into the section underneath. And how I comb the hair through, I'm using the little beak of the comb.
Come around really quick to the other side. There we go. I couldn't
Same
make that
thing.
pretty.
That's okay. Okay, you can see again right here. Look how airy it is in this section and how thick it looks in this section, right? I'm taking the blade and use a skimming technique to really like melt that length off. You can see it like that. Section. beautiful. You see this length right there? And you see how I hold the blade? I hold it right in front. I don't put my finger through it because it kind of like, I want to be loose and free and gentle, you know. If I put my hands too close to this blade, you can't really create because you're too rough and you're too controlled. This movement is controlled, but in a very airy and soft way. That's why I hold this blade between my thumb and my finger right through here. And everything else is kind of like wraps it softly. Right?
It's a great tip.
It's great. It's great. It's a great way to know how to hold the blade, I think, too, right? So again, you hold your blade between your thumb and your finger, right where that little edge is, right here. And then you kind of like let the rest of the fingers lean onto the blade. It's not holding it. Fingers is holding it, the two fingers. So, take this section, stretch it out. You can see the denseness and the thickness on this part right here with the rounding of the head. That was my last section. I don't want to melt it into the section underneath. I'm using the skimming technique, placing the blade not straight on, but laying it flat onto the hair, and let the blade do its work. So they're kind of like soft movements. They're not hard movements, they're just soft movements. Any more questions?
I haven't seen any
No?
coming
Are you guys
through.
all mesmerized?
Well, we just had a bunch more join, so if
Okay.
you want to talk any more about what you're creating today, I think that would be great.
Okay, so again, I'm creating the haircut everybody's crazy about these days, called the wolf haircut, right? And the wolf haircut is just two haircuts. It's a hybrid between a mullet and a shag. So, and how to create this today on Lena's hair was super thick and coily, and using the blade. I think using the blade is probably a tool what you would not normally would like to use in your hair because it's something that scares you. But this is the tool, the only tool for me I use in the salon. And challenge yourself, use it because you'll be amazed what it does for you. So I'm creating vertical layers, keep it very like more of a boxy but fitted, nothing round. So I'm a section off the top, and this is my last section. This is the section that kind of like melts this whole haircut together.
We've got questions coming in now.
Oh,
Okay. Hey, let me come around really quick just so I have good lighting.
Okay.
Longer hair must be done by a scissor for longer hair?
No.
Or
no? I
no?
mean,
Okay.
It's all about you. If you grew up with using scissors, that's what you to go to tool is. Use scissors. There are ways to use scissors with the same technique. I will show you right now. So if you feel like I don't want to use a blade for this technique, then it's okay. For the people who don't want to use a blade, that's fine. I'm going to show you how to do this with the scissors. Take your section from the top, roll it out straight. Okay, so normally with the blade, we go in and we kind of skin cut, right? Go up and down with the blade and let the blade do its work. If you want to do with scissors, you can do the same thing, but you're not going to do it from like this way, right? You're going to use back cutting, which is another amazing technique that we teach at Sebastian, but use it with the scissors. It's the same kind of thing, just the back cutting would probably cut more length though, and you probably won't cut less, you will probably cut less weight out, but more layers.
Would you call that more of like a defined texture with the back cutting or than the blade or?
Okay, so with the blade, the difference between the blade skimming, you can remove a lot of bulk, you remove a lot of thickness, you create a bit more airiness within the shape and within your haircut, and at the same time, it takes off length and keeps the ends of every section a bit more like softer than the scissors. So I feel like the blade will probably have like 7 ways of doing it with one technique. It does more than I think with the scissors, but you know, I'm sure you guys will challenge me on that. But the scissors and the back cutting technique is my #2 favorite to use in the salon on people who have like long straight hair, or it's more like your editorial technique for hair, because it's less scary than using the blade, and you can control what you take out. With the scissors, is a little bit more. With the blade, it kind of like slips through, and then you're like, oh shit, I just cut that whole length off. With the scissors, you have more control what you cut off.
And then we are getting a little tight on time here, but there's another question that I think that's really important.
Okay.
If the cuticle was more open and the hair was more frizz prone, would you still cut with the blade, or would you change your tool? Would you change your technique? Like, what would you actually do?
If the hair was dry, let's say the hair is frizzy and the hair is damaged and all the other like good stuff about it, you probably want to like not use the blade, right? You can use a technique like I just showed you, and the back cutting technique is scissors. Or you can pinch and cut. There's so many different ways of cutting hair. I feel every technique, it kind of like belongs to a texture hair.
Cool. Awesome.
And again, you guys can, come and, set up a class at Sebastian, give you like 9 amazing techniques that we teach you at the academy or online. How is this so far, huh? We did good, no?
It looks amazing.
So let's just use, I can use I call it the sack. You can use the sack a little bit to like dry the hair, right? After you dry the hair a little bit, you can take your GHD iron, what I love to use, and just go in and you stretch out that curl a little bit more. Any more questions?
No, not coming in yet. But I think it's interesting, like with the Sebastian techniques and with what you're doing right now is you're cutting damp to dry, right? So that you don't have to do a lot of styling at the end. How do you keep that curl intact while you're doing the cut, so that at the end you don't have a ton of styling to do?
Great. So my favorite tools to use is the whipped cream. So the whipped cream is like a luxurious cream into a mousse texture, right? Can I have your hand, Oliver, so you can show them? So it comes out like a mousse, right? You see that? And then I use, into the mousse, I use some Potion 9. Potion 9 cream. It's a leave-in. And what I do then, I massage this in, massage it into the hair. So this will actually provide the hair from drying up and getting crispy. Sorry about that.
Thanks.
So using the right product within the hair stays soft, the hair stays moldable, the hair stays combo. There's no alcohol in these products, so it doesn't dry out crispy or funny. So whatever you put into the hair is just as important as the right tools that you use to cut the hair.
It's definitely getting that little like homage to the 70s, that little,
Right?
flip kind of feel. It's cool.
And the great thing is clients are going to go home, they wash their hair, they do it themselves. And then, they send me their little selfies. I'm like, oh my God, they just put their own little spin on it. And I love that. And less is more. I feel like today we're overstyling too much. We create such a beautiful haircut. And then what we do, we take a blow dryer and a brush, and there you go, another blow dry.
Yeah.
I feel like hair cutting is such a craft on its own. If it's a good haircut, you don't need to do much styling. If you do a crappy haircut, then you have to style it for a half hour. If your styling becomes difficult or unmanageable, it's because the haircut is not good. I didn't come out the way I wanted to. But you know what I mean? Like if the haircut is good and solid, then the styling shouldn't be a problem. There shouldn't be much styling to it.
There's one thing actually I want to ask you. So I know that like in the past with the shag, it's super like angled around the face. I know with, the mullet, it's a different shape. I think this, the shape that you created is really like modern and fresh. you know, without having the hardcore like bowl kind of feel in the front. So how do you decide the shape that you're going to create around the face for your model or for your client, and what determines that?
You model of the face of the client's everything. It inspires you for the right shape. It inspires you how long the side should be. It kind of should fit. It should fit her, and it should fit like, how do I say that? It should enhance all the beautiful angles in her face. That's really what it is. It's like, it comes naturally.
And when you say like from all sides, not just the front, you know, people.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see the back. Let's just take this off. Let's see. Like, got a beautiful long neck, right? This fits in really beautifully.
That's amazing.
Into the nape area. And it's not too round, not too short on the top, but it kind of just fits in like you know, like it's been grown out for weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
And you can make it, you know, I can blow dry it and put the curling air into it and make it something different, but this is what's happening right now, and it is something I'm inspired by, and got inspired by her curls and by her, you know, her culture of who she is. I'm not sure how much more time I have.
We're good.
So please have any questions, let me know. Yeah. So I'm gonna finish it off with some dark oil by Sebastian. And just take the ends and tap it. Take some fizzies out, it has to.
What do you guys think? We're coming to the end here. Let Morel know how much love